In the 70s, the government declared this area ZAD.
It means that the state freezes the status of the land. And so this administrative language was taken on our side and called zone à défendre, that is the zone to be defended.
The ZAD is a zone where they wanted to build an airport. Nantes already has an airport. They wanted to move that airport from the city to this piece of land, 4,000 acres. This airport has been resisted since 1963. At first it was through the legal channels, looking at environmental laws because it's a very, very valuable wetlands. And then in 2008, some people who were living here decided that that wasn't enough and they needed to have people come and occupy the land as a form of direct action to stop the building of the airport. Local villagers, farmers, peasants, anarchists, communists, hippies, primitivists, all coming together to construct something different, another kind of world.
Ah ben moi ça représente un espoir concret d'être un grain de sable dans la machine. Enfin vraiment pour moi c'est le pied de nez à l'étage, je vois pas de plus bel endroit pour expérimenter plus de choses en ce moment en France, voire même en Europe que ce qui se passe à Notre-Dame-des-Landes.
60 different collectives have people living in huts, in yurts, in caravans, in old farmhouses up trees. You'll have some big collectives with maybe 15, 20 people living together. You'll have other tiny collective, 2 people. You can find people who refuse to use electricity, refuse to even have tractors to go around their cabins, living 20 meters away from peasant farmers who've been on the land for 5 generations, dairy farming.
Here, it's not possible to dissociate a question of agriculture, question of production, with the question of the struggle and of the fight and of the organization of a movement against the airport. In 2008, there was this call from Les Habitants qui résistent, resisting inhabitants, who said it's easy to destroy an empty territory, so that's why we call everyone from France to come here, to come and live here, to help us to fight. This creates the movement of occupation, and in the movement there is a collective process around agriculture and production. The aim is not only to have link and solidarity with farmers and inhabitants around, not only to have a life which is deeply rooted in the territory and a better understanding of the bocage, but mainly a strategy to occupy and communise and share the land. For most of the farmers who refuse to sign an agreement and refuse to leave their lands, for them to keep on producing, keep on taking care of their animals is a way of resistance and struggle.
Nous sommes arrivés en 1999. Le projet d'aéroport en tant que tel était dans la poussière, en fait. Donc la situation était connue, mais le projet était en totale dormance, et ce depuis, 20 ans, quoi. Les bâtiments, la maison d'habitation, tout ça n'était pas dans la zone d'emprise. On avait juste une dizaine d'hectares qui étaient dans la zone même. 1 an après l'installation, en fait, le dossier est ressorti des cartons. On s'est investi alors dans la lutte contre le projet d'aéroport.
On a participé aux activités à la fois du côté des agriculteurs qui refusaient ce projet. Ce n'est qu'en 2011, quand Vinci était nommé comme gestionnaire du projet. À cette date-là, on a décidé, comme d'autres, de gêner le projet le plus longtemps possible. parce qu'il nous paraissait absolument inacceptable, tant sur le plan de la dépense de l'argent public que sur le plan de l'environnement. On a été d'accord avec toute la contestation en fait, du fonctionnement des hommes politiques qui dictent leurs décisions sans consultation véritable. La réponse que l'on a mise en place, ça a été de faire une grève de la faim au moment des élections présidentielles en 2012 pour mettre le débat sur la place publique et peut-être pour gagner sur des morceaux de revendication. Et c'est ce qui s'est passé. L'expropriation a continué son mécanisme, mais par contre, on avait une garantie pendant 2 à 3 ans de ne pas être mis dehors.
After this hunger strike, President Hollande promised that there would be no eviction of the people who were inhabitants before the ZAD was occupied. The 16th October 2012, they did the Caesar operation.
A really massive operation. At peak, there were more than 1,500 cops.
They wanted to evict every place on the ZAD, which was not protected by this agreement. They destroyed lots of cabins, lots of houses. It was shocking for many people and there was a huge resistance.
What they faced was an extraordinary range of tactics. They basically didn't know when they turned up in an area whether they would find themselves in front of a flaming barricade or they would have local residents holding hands in front of the machines. That lasted for a month.
Opération César qui a bousculé complètement l'image de Notre-Dame, le rapport avec l'État, les hommes politiques et les rapports entre nous, et aussi l'audience des opposants à Notre-Dame.
All the transmission of knowledge between the squatters and the farmers is due to the strong solidarity during the eviction, and lots of projects of occupying the land were born from discussion around the barricades.
There was already a call saying 1 month after a big eviction there will be a huge reoccupation demonstration. And it was an amazing surprise. 40,000 people came, and many of them were organized groups with pre-built cabins in tractors. Lots of cabins were built this weekend with an amazing energy. Lots of people say it was the most beautiful day of my life. We were sharing an intense moment, so unexpected.
L'occupation continue. Nous sommes bons, ici, tous solidaires. Vinci, dégage!
On this day we really had the impression we would win against this awful project. Every morning at 6 o'clock we were on the barricades, masked and ready to do I don't know what. Personally, for example, I didn't know how to resist, but I was there. For many people it was like that. They didn't came the first day, they didn't came the second day, they didn't came the third day. On the Friday morning at 6 o'clock the police came. They destroyed the cabins we had built. They also began to stop the work in La Châtaigne, which is a village we had built for this demonstration.
The cops tried to attack, not having understood that when you have 40,000 people who have built this together, they're gonna have even more motivation to defend it. The tension really rose. For 3 days, there were loads of offensive grenades being used, flashballs and thousands of cartridges of tear gas. More than 100 people got injured, and then the government realized that they were about to kill someone, and the government had been in place for not long enough for them to take the risk of killing someone, so they withdrew. Pretty much since 2013, the cops haven't set foot on the zone.
This moment of resistance was the first moment in which the different components of the movement were all together, not judging the way of action of each one. And this diversity makes the government fail.
On a été un élément dans une espèce de grande lutte, de grande opposition, mais à chaque fois on ne savait pas jusqu'à quand on pourrait résister. On constate qu'on est encore là aujourd'hui.
The zone has been defended and is being defended by far more than the people who live on it. Before the evictions, there were a handful of support groups. After the evictions, there were more than 200 support groups. They gather on the zone and they think strategically about how they're going to defend and build.
The struggle managed to free the territory, so now it's a huge place of experimentation. It's not so frequent in history that we have such opportunities to say, here we have 2,000 hectares of land that we can communalize, share. Here we got life without police and justice. Here we can try to organize outside of the classical politics. One of our main things for the next year, defending the territory against the COP and trying to build this commune, which part of it already exists in our links, but with part of it is still to construct. One of the big things to do will be to build a common sense and a common culture between all these people, and a common culture that is not only we are against the airport, but we are for the ZAD.